what's up, how's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs, whether it's gaming, creative, streaming, music, business, whatever you need. Dark Fusion Systems will build the proper PC for you. Get $100 off your entire build with code CPPOD at darkfusionsystems.com. Thank you guys. Now to our feature presentation. 3 years ago, we had Jayden from the Australian band Stepson on the podcast with their debut album, Help Me Help You. It's 3 years later, and the band's been through a good amount, taking charge, taking their music back into their own hands, and some of the best stuff is yet to come. Are you ready to get back into Stepson? You better be. Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. 3 years ago, we had this guy on the podcast filming from the back of his car after a rehearsal for a wedding. And we got to know all about their brand new debut album at the time called Help Me Help You, which was, by God, one of my favorite albums from 2021. And it is absolutely incredible that I get to have him back on the podcast once again with the most recent single, as the time of recording, Discover Lonely, out now, and an Australian run happening in April. You're not going to miss out on it if you're in Australia. And if you aren't in Australia, well, find a way to get down there and go see these guys play live. So please welcome Jayden from Stepson back to the podcast. So Jayden, welcome back, man.
What up, man? It's a pleasure to be back.
Dude, it is a pleasure to have you back. First time having you back on in 3 years. I just got to know, man, what's been going on with you? Like, 3 years is a long time, and we already went through, the end of a pandemic, probably a whole bunch of other crap, just everything you possibly could imagine outside of another pandemic. So, dude, how has life been the past 3 years?
Man, it's been pretty crazy. There's still, thank fuck we're out of the pandemic, but there's still like all those remnants of it ripping through. Band life, man, it's we took a few shots of that album tour and it just kept getting like rescheduled and shows canceled because of lockdowns and whatnot here. But we got that done. Did a few cool tours. We went to Europe and the UK for the first time. So that was pretty crazy. Went over there with our friends Polaris and Alpha Wolf. Yeah, man, it's like, it feels like a whole lot got crammed into a little space, but then there's a whole lot that sort of just went under. Like, we were going to come to the States and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but COVID just made it too hard and put us in a bit of a hole. So, we're still working on it. It's not off the cards yet. But yeah, other than that, man, it's, we all work our day jobs and whatnot when we're not out touring or writing records. So none of us really like doing that.
Oh, no one really likes doing that, dude. I mean, I have to still work a full-time job while doing all this stuff. I mean, I've got a board right here. You can see all the dates out. These are all episodes I have scheduled coming up, and it's just, I'm packing them in there, getting as many great bands as I can on. Funny enough, you mentioned, going on tour with your friends in Polaris and Alpha Wolf. I got Alpha Wolf up on the board here for the next week, so yeah, happy about that.
Yeah,
however,
good boys.
You did mention that you were supposed to go over to the U.S., but COVID kind of messed it up, so I'm going to do what I should have done right when you said that and just go, fuck, because I really want to see you guys play live, but of course now I'm going to have to wait, which is a little maddening, but I get to blame the pandemic on that one, so stupid COVID, taking another thing away from me? Not anymore, not next time, not now.
Yeah, dude, we're pretty let down by that one. It's funny, when the band started, it was pretty crazy. Like our number one goal was always like, we want to tour Europe. We want to do UK Europe kind of thing. And America, I don't know whether it was because it was like in the too hard basket or we just never really thought about it. It wasn't super high on the agenda. It was always like, we got to do Europe. We got to do Europe. We did Europe now, and it was sick as fuck. Like, my favorite tour to date. It was really cool just meeting so many new people, saying like, they've waited 6-7 years to see us. So that was pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, it's like America's just quickly sort of like came up to the top of the list. I'm like, damn, if we don't go over there, I might never go. So we're definitely sort of working on that, especially with new music in the works. We'll make something happen for sure.
Oh, I'm hoping to God you do, because I understand where you're coming from, wanting to have Europe as like that primary goal to start out with, just because from what I've talked to other bands from Australia as well, it seems like it's, a lot easier to get over to Europe, get those visas and get the support to go over there compared to the US, just based on travel costs and everything around touring, the cost of that, and just the success that bands have had over in Europe coming from Australia compared to the US just at the start. Of course, we're seeing so many bands have a lot of success that are coming from Australia over here in the US, especially in the heavier side of things. Like you mentioned with Polaris and Alpha Wolf, those bands are absolutely getting massive over here, especially within the heavier community. So there is a lot of time that can make that happen. And it just makes sense. Again, the US is kind of like the next frontier for you guys, especially in a live setting. You guys have played all over Australia. You guys have gone to Europe. Now what's the next thing is to kind of cross that whole entire thing we call the Pacific Ocean, come over by us in the US and just have a fucking blast.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of water between us, but I want to get over there for sure. It's like we get so many like DMs, emails. It's like, why aren't you coming to America? And like looking at stat wise, America crushes even Australia for us. So it's like, it's definitely something we need to do. But I don't think people realize how hard it is for Australian bands. Like visa costs alone are like more than flights. It's it's a big number. Pretty much before boots on ground, you're looking at like $40,000-$50,000 for this tour. So
what?
Yeah, so if you ever see an Australian band coming to your city or even close to it, just know that they fucking spent a lot of money and a lot of effort to get there. And that's even if like, customs let us in.
Well, I hope customs lets you in, because that would be a terrible thing if you got in, you got the visa, everything, and customs got it like, oh no, you guys can't come in. Then, even us in America, we're like, well, they had everything.
Look at you.
Like they had everything going, like they had everything, and then we're the ones that messed it up.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll be sweet. We'll make it happen for sure. But yeah, it's a little bit more goes into it than just just come here and play some shows. It's like, bro, it's a house deposit to do a American tour. So
it's like, we're trying to do it, man, but you know how expensive it is. However, one thing that's going to help out with you is the fact that you guys did go over to Europe. You guys did play with other Australian bands, Alpha Wolf, Polaris. I believe you're still on Sharptone, right?
For the new stuff?
Yeah.
Nah, man.
No.
Scoot.
Oh, shoot. Well, I completely missed out on that, because I'm like, I remember you guys on Sharptone, so it made sense. Polaris, Alpha Wolf, label mates, that makes sense. And then
dude.
But so I didn't even know about that. Now I feel silly for not being able to look into that. So shit.
Nah, that's all good, man. It's sort of like, it wasn't like a big announcement or anything like that. We're still like massive homies with Sharptone. We've got the record Help Me Help You and everything like that. Yeah, pretty much like it more came from our end. We sort of had a bit of a chat to them and decided it was probably better to go our separate ways moving forward. No bad blood, right? Like no one even really did anything wrong. We're kind of just like wanting to take it back into our own hands. We've always been such like a personal band and wanted to, do everything ourselves. We've got like, it's so dumb because we're all like, oh fuck, we got to do everything, but we've got this real DIY attitude. And yeah, as much as like we'll complain internally about being like, oh man, why do I have to do this? Why am I doing this? It's like we kind of love it, and it feels good sort of having everything back in our hands again. And yeah, just being able to kind of do whatever we want with it and have some fun for it. So
I can see where some of like the times you're going to complain are going to come through, where some of those, more formalities and just some of the more logistical side of things, where it's like, okay, we got to deal with this. We got to figure out this ourselves. We're going to of course, you're going to complain about it, because anytime someone does something, whether it's one or the other, there's always be things you're going to enjoy. There's always be things you're like going to complain about because you think the other side has done that better. But in the end, the thing that seems like it matters to the most for you guys is that every decision is now in your hands, and it goes back to that DIY style where no matter what happens, it's on you guys. You're the ones that are going to be responsible for the success. You're the ones that are going to be responsible if something doesn't go right, but you're going to be able to have that accountability to and be able to act on any kind of changes that you want, not only within your music, but within whatever you're doing with the band to promote it, show-wise, travel-wise, tour, whatever it might be. It is now in your hands. You're not beholden to anybody else.
Yeah, dude. And, we had a pretty bad run last year with there's 3 tours that got canceled outside of our control. And that stuff hurts, man. Morale's all-time low kind of deal. But thankfully we sort of just rallied together and we're like, well, we've got some pretty cool songs here. Let's just bump recording forward and rip into that. And yeah, we just didn't want to wait anymore. We're just like, fuck it, let's just rip and tear. With Sharptone Records, man, it's they're one of the best labels in the world right now. They're killing it with their lineups, their roster. So there's definitely no bad blood there. I appreciate I sort of just went in, I was like, hey, can I have an honest conversation with you guys? And, we've always been massive supporters of the band, and I'm a massive supporter of the label. Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was more kind of felt like a breakup in a way, but a weird, mutual one where we're still friends. It definitely felt more like a personal thing. Yeah, rather than a business, solely business, separating ways. Yeah, it was more of a personal, oh, let's just be friends kind of thing. So it works for us. We can push through and do whatever we want. And, Sharptone still love the album that they have. They're still supporting us in whatever way they can. So yeah, it was real nice. You hear so many horror stories of labels shelving bands or stealing royalties or anything like that. But thankfully we didn't have that. We kind of just had a super supportive dad.
I think you said it best, when you're talking about a breakup that kind of just you know what, this just isn't working, but being friends works, so why not give it a shot and see if that works? Due to the fact that if something were to happen in the future where you would need some sort of label backing, some sort of label support, and wanted to get back into that, it seems like Sharptone would definitely be right there, potentially pick back up on it. And that's something you don't hear every single day. Of course, we always hear about labels and band stories, usually on the horror side of things, usually on the end on not good terms. But it just seems like this one just made sense, not only for you guys, but just was amicable to the point where, again, if something were to happen later down the line, there's a business relationship there that can still blossom and still be fostered. Just right now, it just seems like it was best for you guys to go out on your own and try this again on your own. And again, have all the responsibility and all the accountability for yourselves.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's super exciting for me personally. Sort of taking that whole manager side in, I'm our manager, fucking everything dude kind of thing. And it's kind of exciting having that back in our hands. We talk about it regularly as a group, and we just want to have fun again, man. It's yeah, it's pretty exciting, and the new record absolutely rips. So I can't wait for people to start hearing that.
Well, before we dive into that whole entire thing, because as much as I liked Help Me Help You, now you got me even more curious about what this new record is going to be like. When you're saying you want to have fun with this once again, here's one thing I think about it too, where the things that we're doing, you with the music, you with Stepson, myself with this podcast, anybody that's in the creative space that also has to still support themselves with a full-time job. It's as much work as this seems, and as much work as we put into this stuff that is laborious, that does take a lot of energy. In the end of the day, we still continue to do this because even the work sometimes can be fun. And those fun moments are so much more above and beyond that we remember how powerful it is when we're working those full-time jobs, when we're sitting there making money, doing something that we're not passionate about because our passion is something like this. It really overtakes much more of that experience for our own selves. And it's something that is incredible to have once again. And if the whole entire band is feeling like that and you guys are able to have fun all the time collectively with this, even with the work, then that's where the creative juice are going to flow. That's where the chemistry is going to be at an all-time high. And then, going over and touring the US, it might be even easier, just given the fact that that radiant positivity is going to grow and is going to be even more impactful going forward, not only for the guys in the band, for yourself, but also for the fans and the scene as a whole. We're seeing what positivity is doing with this latest Beartooth record, where they might be, playing arenas real soon. So yeah, let's keep that fun. Let's keep that positivity rolling within the band, because then that's where the best stuff comes from.
Yeah, dude. It's definitely translating across, which is really nice. Like, we're very fortunate. Like, you hear about like band dramas and whatnot. It's like the five of us, we're so rock solid, like bandmates are best friends kind of thing. So it's always been good, but like, COVID was hard. We live across a few different states, so it made it near impossible to work stuff out. And then sort of rolling into that, it started finally looking good again. And then, we had a tough year last year with all these cancellations. So it's just like like without any of us ever discussing it, we were sort of like, what are we doing? Like, what's the point? We can't keep copping these L's. So yeah, like sort of just internalizing everything and bring it back in. And it's like, we're doing whatever we want and we're having fun with it. And, it's cool. It's been a while since we've all sort of been super stoked, just ready to do whatever we want and be like, if it works, it works. If not, we like it. So who the fuck cares?
I mean, you can tell it's a lot different, especially just looking at your face, seeing the smile that's coming across it. It's coming across as more radiant with the fact that all the stuff you guys have been through as a band, releasing Help Me Help You during the pandemic, the album release tour for that consistently getting postponed and canceled due to COVID restrictions and lockdowns, everything you guys went through last year with different tour postponements and cancellations. The fact that you guys have found a way to bring back that energy, bring back that fun, and bring back that positivity uniquely and truly within yourselves and within the band as a whole, then I'm looking at this, we might be talking again 3-4 years down the line, looking back at this decision, and it might end up being one of the best decisions you guys ever made as a band and as people as well, to continue on with this, continue to make great music, but also to go after that one thing in life that so many people strive for but never fully achieve, which is happiness.
That's it, man. It's like we never started this band to, be fucking living in 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-garage houses paid solely off our music and whatnot. It's like, it's not about music or like the money from the music. It's about, look, at the end of the day, like if I can look back in a decade, 2 decades and be like, I traveled the world like with 4 of my best friends playing these songs I wrote in my shitty little bedroom in my little country town I grew up in. It's like, that's cool. And like nothing will beat that euphoria and that like that rush of being on stage. But it's not even my favorite part of being in a band. It's like all the people I meet, like, dude, like you and I, if it wasn't for this dumb little yelly music, like we would never tour. Like never. And I think that's my favorite part of it. It's like the people I meet and the places I see. That's like so much more important for us. So we're just really trying to like swing it back to what we made the band for. Going back to our roots a little bit, hitting more regional towns that we haven't hit in a while, and just want to like rip shows. It's like I can sleep on floors again, man. I'm like kind of hyped for it.
Wow. I mean, during that time, there's one thing that I remember thinking about, and this popped in my head was, I remember listening, I can't remember who it was, might have been actually Gary V, good old Gary Vaynerchuk, business mogul, entrepreneur, mastermind, everything, was talking about how, at times, and I did this even when I was a younger kid as well, going to, like old folks' homes or like a nursing home, like my grandpa was in the VA hospital, and I remember talking to people and just people that were there. And anytime I talked to them and heard about their lives, a lot of things they talked about were things that they wish they did. And they were thinking about
Yeah.
regret later on in life rather than reliving those memories, the positivity, the happiness. All they could think about is what they thought, what they actually wanted to do in life. By you guys, going back to being, independent by yourselves, really focusing in the band by yourselves, what you guys want to do, and taking back that positivity, but also looking at why are we still doing this? We're not having those heavy expectations of we're going to live in, these gigantic mansions based off our music and we're going to be the most popular band ever. But the fact that you guys are taking the positivity of you've toured the world, you've toured all across the world already outside of the United States, because I meant Europe and Australia. Those
That's
are
the last frontier for us.
like Australia and Europe are still very, very, very far apart. You've gotten to meet so many people, connect with so many people, experience so many different things, and got to do it with some of your best friends in the whole entire world. When you are old in life and you're looking back on this, you're going to be looking back on this with that positivity and not with regret. And that's something that is powerful. And the fact that that's already kind of, implanted in your head and you're already making strides against that, to have that positivity be the thing you focus on, not only now, but later on in life, dude, applause to you, my good sir.
Thank you, bro. It's sort of like ever since I was a kid, I've always sort of been like that, just pigeonholed. I was like, I want to do this. So many people were like, go get like a full-time job and, like a backup. And I was like, nope, because that's selling for less. That's selling for failure. I was like, dude, I can do all that shit when I am older. Like, it's obviously like you have to put some sort of thought into it. And it's like, man, like the older we get, more bills, all that sort of shit. So it's not like carefree, just like, oh, I just want to be in a band and that's it. It's like there's steps to it, but I've never wanted that safety route because, you can be safe your whole life and then you're sitting there in your deathbed and looking back and realize you didn't live. So like, that seems kind of dumb to me. It's what's the point? Go out, live a little bit, worry about the rest later. It'll be fine. And if it's not, worry about it then.
It'll be fine. And, money gets printed every single day. There's always time to make more money. There's always going to be that time. But the time that you have now to try some of these crazy things and go after your dreams, go after your passions, why not give it a shot? We get one chance at life. Why the hell would you want to try and play it safe? However, if your like goal in life is to get a full-time job, have it steady, be comfortable, and potentially get married, have kids, and just have that comfortable life, if that is your goal, by all means, go for it, man. Go for it. That's what it's there for. For a lot of us, though, that goal isn't that, and it's more on the creative side, more on that expressive side. We're going to go after that because that's what we want to do. And when that time comes that we're on our deathbed, we all want to look back in life and remember the great times we had and think about we did the most with the time that we had that we wanted to use it for. Not just to play it safe because someone else told us to do so.
Yeah. Straight up, man. And there's no reason why we can't all win. Like, I love seeing, like, as you said, like, whether it's music, whether it's like a business venture, whether it's like starting a family, man. I just love seeing people fucking win. So I'll always like embrace that and applaud that. It's like, just doesn't matter what you're into. It's like what you care about. Just fucking do it.
Absolutely. And speaking of, wins, because I thought, again, Help Me Help You was a massive win, but you're telling me you guys got more new music coming out in the works. I'm just like, this is awesome. So what's going on with this new music, man?
Yeah, well, we haven't really talked about it, but okay, you can be the dude we talk to it about. But like, I think, as I said, last year we had a bunch of tours canceled and we're like, well, we've got some songs here that are pretty cool. Let's pull recording forward. So I think June might have been the first session. We just went into the studio for a week and we're like, let's just see what we can flesh out. And that's when we did Discover Lonely. And we just kept doing that. And now we've got album 2 ready to go, which is pretty exciting.
Album 2 ready to go. okay, if I'm gonna get some sleep tonight, you know, my anxiety and anxiousness is going through the roof right now because I'm like, I want to hear more new stuff from Stepson, and now there's an album 2 coming out. When? Where can I listen to this? Why am I yelling like this? What is going on in the world?
Honestly, man, like that's the cool thing about us taking everything back into our own hands because we don't know yet. We're sort of just it's like we're still finishing off like, you know, like we're a holistic band when it comes to our art. So like all our like, you know, music videos, cover arts, merchandise, everything. It's, you know, we've never in our entire history just been like, here design, oh, like you do it kind of thing. Everything, it's all like very much by design with us. We just and we either do it ourselves, like Brock's a very talented artist. He's a tattooer by trade. So, you know, it's pretty handy having him in the band. He draws a lot of like our design stuff, and I do a lot of the screenplays for our music videos. So we're sort of just fleshing out with these new songs what we want to do there and what's, you know, what's important to us. You know, we felt Discover Lonely was a song that we like. It's my favorite Stepson song that is currently released. So we wanted to get that out there, get back touring after the year we had last year. And then the rest of the album stuff, it's kind of just figuring it out and seeing what we want to do with it. But if I had to hazard a guess, there'd be a few more songs at the very least this year. And then at the absolute latest, the album would be out next year in the first half. But maybe even earlier. Fuck it. I might just decide to cold drop it in 2 weeks. I don't know. Like, that's the cool thing about it being like solely ours kind of thing.
That was a cool thing because you guys get to decide when it's the perfect time to do it for you. All of a sudden, what happens if you guys get something that's absolutely massive to happen? Let's just say you guys get a chance to come over to the US and it's like, okay, why not? Why wait to release an album? And why hold on to this thing? Why don't we release it right before the US tour starts and get people even more hyped for something like that? Instead of, okay, now we got this massive opportunity, but the album is supposed to be released at the end of the tour or, you know, a couple months afterwards. And now we have to hold on to it based off of different obligations we have with other companies, the label, whatever it might be. You guys don't have that. You guys can just do whatever the heck you feel like. And it gives you guys a lot of wiggle room and a lot of leeway to continue to play with the promotion of it and continue to play with the overall artistic vision and just how it's going to be presented to the fans. Because with the way social media is, what happens if there is a song that you guys wrote that is absolutely incredible and you're waiting for the right time to drop it and something happens, let's say on TikTok, where there's a new trend and the song you guys create is perfect for that trend? Why not drop it right then and there? You guys don't have to wait. You can do it as soon as you want.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, all that stuff's just super exciting to us. Like, you're exactly right. We chatted about it. It's like, you know, if something sick comes up, we've just got that in the barrel ready to go. So yeah, like we've still got a few bits to go. Like, we haven't fucking named it yet. Got any cool album names?
Not at the moment, but maybe something like Untitled Stepson Album Number 2. Well, that should be the working title right now, but I don't think it should be fully the
that's
actual
pretty much,
title.
I think that's what it's under in the Dropbox right now. Other than that, we've got some. I think the next song we definitely have to come up with a new name because it's currently Bussin' For Real. But we'll work it out. It's like working titles are so funny, man.
I don't know, if you guys release a song called Bussin' For Real, I think that might have some like people really looking into it, be like, why did they release something like this just based off of that name alone?
Dude, I think that name came from us talking about like wanting to tour America, and we're just a couple of Aussie blokes kind of thing. We're like, what's some American lingo we can use? And one of the boys was like, Bussin' For Real. I was like, I don't know what that means, but I was like, that's what this song's called now.
It's like your little kid from Talladega Nights. I don't know what that means, but I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
I kind of want to talk. Oh, well, I kind of want to talk about a couple of these new songs. Of course, they're not released yet, but when it came to writing some of these new songs that you're working on or that have already been completed that just have working titles like Bussin' For Real, what has been some of the inspiration behind some of these things, instrumentally, thematically, overall musicality? Like, what have you guys been really going after, inspired by in this writing style?
Yeah. Um, we're still doing like that classic Stepson thing where we don't pigeonhole ourselves to one specific sound. But overall, I think like following COVID and like all the bad shit that's been happening, man. Thematically, we wanted to go a bit darker, a bit heavier. Um, both like with the lyrics emotionally, but also like the music itself. Um, as like we really honed in on all the bits that we really love about the band. And then we're like, okay, cool. How can we expand on that? So it's less of a experimentation of sounds, and it's more going in and finding what we really enjoy and building on that. And honestly, we've been doing a lot of heavier support tours and whatnot, like going out with Polaris and Alpha Wolf. We're like, all right, man, we need Entire History of You. We need Come With Me. We need those ones with that hit hard. And the more we were playing that, we were like, damn, this is kind of fun. So, I can say some of the heaviest songs we've ever wrote is on the new record, which I'm really excited for. We're going to play one on this new tour, see how it goes. And then like just our musicianship, like, this album is coming along 3 years after we did Help Me Help You. It's like, Brock and myself have become way better singers. Benno's still this little crazy robot on the guitar, just a permanent inbuilt metronome. He writes songs tapping away on his steering wheel, and he's like, all right, cool, that's the drums, and then this is a guitar lead. And then he won't touch it for like a month, and then pick up the guitar in the studio and be like, oh yeah, this is what I wrote in the car. It's crazy. And then we've got one of my really good friends, Nick Farr. Farry's back in the band now. Our wonderful Rob has gone off into retirement of the band life. He wanted to do that, get married, have kids, I think, but like buy a house, do all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's nice. He's still in the group chat doing all that shit with us, giving us ideas. But yeah, Rob left, and now we've got Barry coming in. And he adds a really strong point of difference for us. He's got this crazy voice. He's such a good guitarist, and it sort of definitely made us level up. So yeah, there's a lot of that sort of influence coming in on the new album. The whole time we were like putting on our little hats in the studio and being like, make guitar music great again. So we're definitely like a lot more focused on the intricacies of the guitar work and whatnot. Like you'd hear that in Eraser, you hear that in Discover Lonely. It's like, yeah, we're definitely sort of focusing on that sort of stuff for the new music. And then sometimes we just go dumb caveman heavy because it's fun, man.
Hey, especially when you guys went out with Polaris and Alpha and seeing how caveman heavy can sometimes really work out, especially with some of the intricacies that Polaris can pull off and some of the just raw, visceral actions that Alpha Wolf can pull off. It makes sense that you might get a little bit inspired by that. Why not give it a shot with some of your style as well? Because if we look at Discover Lonely, I mean, throughout most of the song, especially for the verses and the chorus, there are a lot of these sometimes, more flowing, a little bit more parts that have a little bit more melody to them, consistently with what we've seen, on a good amount of tracks from Help Me Help You. But then once you got to the bridge, now we're starting to see that build happen with some of the heavier stuff. And we got the taste of how heavy you guys can go and even heavier potential with the way the breakdown hits. Cause it kind of had this interesting, for me, it built similar, somewhat like a Killswitch Engage song, but in the breakdown hit melodic beatdown all the way through. Great inclusion of uncleans to show aggression before the guitars came in to clean it up really nicely, taking us back into the chorus to kind of flow back a little bit more of that emo potential metalcore style really well. And again, I put in there the key to the breakdown is there's still some of the potential programming you guys had throughout the entire song over the top of it. Especially the intro, it's not heavily present. It's very light there, but it allows the overall flow and the message of the song to continue going, not be forgotten. And my last 4 words on this for my notes was, "This is well done."
Thanks, man. I think with this record as well, we weren't under a time crunch. It was just like do it as we please, and we did it in 4 separate blocks rather than just having like going, okay, here's a month, let's do an album. So that's what we did with Help Me Help You. This one was like 4 separate like 7 to 10 day blocks, and I think it sort of gave every song a bit more room to breathe, and we could really think about it and what we wanted to go back and touch up and do all that sort of stuff. And then, that's how, Discover Lonely, we recorded that in June. And then we were like doing some pickups in November, I think, just because, we gave ourselves that time. And I think it's made the album overall so much stronger. Because like Help Me Help You, I love that album. It's debut album for us. Like it's always gonna have a special part in our hearts. But there's so many parts where I listen to it, I'm like, oh, God damn, I would have done that like this now. So I think like every artist struggles with that kind of thing. But it's nice, being able to go back and revisit songs rather than being like, okay, that's done. Like that's it. So but everything's fully tracked now. We're not going back in because you can't just keep touching up, otherwise you'll never release anything.
Yeah, if you keep touching up, you're going to get to the point where you're just always going to want to perfect it. And as time goes on, as life continues to flow, you're going to be influenced by some different aspects of life, whether it's the music you're listening to, new things that other people in the scene are doing, or just experiences that you have. So you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to go and do this. This would work out better here. Similar to what you would be doing with like Help Me Help You if you went back and rewrote the entire thing, just because of those different ideas. But you guys are done with it. But again, taking the amount of time you did, it's something where when you're not under a specific time constraint, it allows the album, it allows that process to naturally evolve and to naturally flow. Of course, if it was something where, say you guys just released a ripper of an album, 1 year after your debut, because that's exactly what it felt like and that was what naturally happened, absolutely go for it. Why not? However, not having that time constraint allows you to be as freely creative as possible and not have to worry about the pressure of we have to get this in by this time. So that pressure is not in your head, that just conflict isn't happening and potentially putting out something that isn't the best product of a song that you guys want to put out to really expand on the message you're trying to tell with that sound.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it's a cool way to do it. We're stoked.
Yeah, and again, you guys are doing it all together, and even with Rob not in the band anymore, still in the group chat, able to still have a little bit of a piece of in there as well, because honestly, from an outside perspective, who's going to know you guys better than him?
Yeah, exactly. He spent 5-6 years touring with us. Like Geordie, our original drummer as well, like same sort of thing. He went, we used to book tours around his like uni courses and stuff like that. And then we started like growing, and then all of a sudden like tours were coming to us and we didn't have a say when they were, kind of thing. And we had that real crossroads point with Geordie, like with Geordie and Rob, like none of us ever pushed them out. It was kind of like, hey, like, you want to do it? Like, do it. If you don't, that's cool, man. Like, we understand. And like all of us are still in that original group chat together, kind of thing. And it's like, it's really nice. Bands like lose members and there's usually bad blood or whatever. It's like every member of Stepson who's been in the band is still in the group chat, and we just talk and fucking hang out all the time. It's really nice.
That adds a little bit more of that family and community vibe, not only to you guys, but it also allows the fans that are going to be able to hear this and really take part in this to understand just the power that you guys have in terms of being that family, and people are going to connect with it. Because again, how many times do we see bands and other members split and we see the posts about them, and either they're just like very vague or sometimes they're very vindictive, so you know something didn't go
Yeah.
right or there's definitely some bad blood. But then you see somewhere it's just, they actively just say, this person's going off for one reason or another. We still fully support them. We still care about them. Maybe our musical paths will cross at some point again in the future. It's like, well, that person and that band are still considered family to each other. And that brings people closer together even more. And when someone new joins the band, now it's not like, oh, you're replacing them. It's like, okay, you're picking up where that person left off. And it makes it a lot
Yeah,
easier for the fans to
exactly.
really get behind them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm really excited for people to hear the influence Fire had on the band since joining. Like not only with his like musicianship, just the dynamic. He's a workhorse and he wants to work for it. So it's a nice new take, especially now that we're bringing everything back in because it's like just that let's go sort of energy, like let's do it. So
Well, I'm going to be very curious to
and
see what you guys continue to release, especially if that next song is going to be currently titled Bussin' For Real, just to see what kind of influence this is having on you guys and just the overall evolution of your sound. Because you can, especially for what I saw with Discover Lonely, you can see more of that evolution happening. But the question now is we know it's happening. It's where do you guys go from there? That was what I was looking at with that track. There is so much more to continue to go off of. But when it comes to the tracks that are going to come next, I don't know what kind of way you're going to go. I don't know what kind of style you're going to go. I don't know if it's going to be melodic, heavy, fast paced, if it's going to be a ballad, if it's going to make me feel something, or it's maybe want to fun punch somebody. I don't know, but I'm curious and I'm excited for it because it could be anything. All I know is that the quality is going to be top notch. That's all I know right now.
it's funny, pretty much everything you just listed, I'm like, yeah, that's this song. Yeah, that's this song. That's that. So I don't know, man. Like you pick. Like, what do you want to hear next? It's like that's the coolest thing about the position we're in. It's like, I don't know. Like, I can do that. Like, fuck it. We might just drop the heaviest song we've ever did next. Or, like we could do the ballad that breaks everyone's heart.
Yeah, because then all of a
So
sudden, we're going to, especially here in the US, we're going to be going into summer and we're going to end up like, okay, let's get something that's, energetic, excited, brings the happy vibes. And you guys are going to drop some super duper ballad that we're going to be sitting there just like, why does this hurt so much? It makes me feel things.
yeah,
Ah! But it's so good. Ah!
yeah, looking back on some of the lyrics, I'm like, damn, we should see someone. But we're like, nah, punk rock, baby. That'll heal all.
Music,
Punk rock can't fix it. I don't want to hear about it.
music is our therapy, baby. We wrote
Yeah,
this down and maybe we should see someone, but no, I know what we're seeing. We're seeing this on paper right now and we're going to put it into a song. And then now it's going to
yeah,
be out in the world and we own that moment.
yeah. It's gonna be everyone else's problem then.
Well, Jayden, I got another question for you because I'm still curious about this and I want to make sure it's implanted in your brain. Can we see you guys in the US next year? Pretty please.
um, 2024 is a big ask, but 2025, man, I think so. I think we're good. I'm talking to a few people, so I guess if you guys really want to see us, make sure these songs can do well in the States, I guess, because as much as we can go, yeah, we want to go. It's like that's only half of it. We've got, we need an American tour promoter to be like, this band, there's demand, bring them over. So best way of that is like spread the word, tell your friends. And the more it gets around through like word of mouth, you know, tell promoters or whatever, like, I fuck with this band. I want to see this band because we want to go.
All right, then. Now it's time for me to tell the audience. This is what you should do in order to make sure that Stepson gets to play in the US. First things first, when they release new music, listen to it. Secondly, when they release new music, share it on social media, let people know about it and share it, because word of mouth when it comes to music recommendations is the most important thing, whether it is direct or social media, because your friends will take your musical opinion into consideration more than just a stranger. Third, when you see bands post stuff like, oh, who should we tour with? Who do you guys want to see us tour with? Comment Stepson in those. If you see venues ask what kind of bands you want to see play live here, comment Stepson. Constantly be putting that out in the world. Constantly, put that attention on there, because these places, these bands, these companies, they will be looking at this stuff. This is what they use for the metrics. And the more you stream it, the more you share it, the better chance we're going to get to see Stepson over in the US in 2025. Maybe with Polaris, maybe with Alpha Wolf. Who knows? Maybe Make Them Suffer finally drops a brand new album in 2025, late 2024. They come back over here in 2025 and Stepson opens for them. Who knows? It could very well happen. Wouldn't you want to see something like that happen? So literally, listen to music, post about it, comment to it, recommend it to your friends, comment on other band pages that you should go and tour with Stepson, and comment on venue pages that they should bring Stepson to their venues.
That's it. Then after that, we'll do the rest, man.
Exactly.
I'll fight tooth and nail to get in.
This is honestly, for everyone, this is what you got to use. You just got to use something like this. Just start typing stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to work. This thing can be magic. Magic.
Yeah, that's your instrument, and I'll bring my bass.
I was gonna say we can make it really magic with. Now it's not magic. Wait. No, it is magic. It's got red lights. Ooh.
Yeah. That RGB setup.
Oh yeah. Well, Jayden, I got one more question before we wrap this up. Are you ready?
I'm good. Hit me.
Alrighty, I love asking this question because it gets not only myself to know more about the music that you love and the music that you're listening to, but everybody else as well, and continue to expand more people's musical horizons. So Jayden, can you name me 3 bands that you absolutely love right now that you would love to get more exposure to from the fans, from myself, from everybody?
3 bands that are super hot right now that I really fuck with. There's this really cool band from Brisbane called Upsetter. We're taking them out on our little headline run starting next month. Genre-wise, I'd say they say doomgaze, which makes heaps of sense to me. But imagine like pretty emo shoegazy stuff, but then with like low-tuned guitars, like Loathe, I guess.
Oh shit.
That sort of stuff. Yeah. It's very pretty, it's very cathartic, it's emo but it's got just some real cool grooves to it. So I definitely recommend chucking them a solid listen. There. Got an EP out, Doomgaze. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. But I really enjoy that band. Yeah, I've sort of been going back to a few favorites lately. Like I just got off 3 weeks of touring. And in the van, I was just smashing out, like I'm wearing the shirt right now, but my friends in Holding Absence, and like they don't need any introductions or anything like that. It's like if you're in the scene and you know this band rips. But they're Holding Absence, they're an incredible band. I've been sort of going back and visiting all their stuff when I first started getting into them, and that shit still holds up. And that's always a really good sign that the band's good. Incredible musicians live. So if you haven't, definitely check out Holding Absence. A third one. I'm trying to be creative here. All right, this one, like as I said, I've been on the tour just like driving heaps. So I've been vibing with this sort of stuff. This one's pretty much for people who listen to solely alternative music or whatever. I'd really encourage them to sort of break out and try a few different genres. Once again, this isn't a small upcoming band, but if you're in the alt scene, you probably haven't heard of them. But a band called The Midnight, Do you know The Midnight, bro?
I do not actually.
Okay, perfect example. It's like, I don't even know what genre they are, but it's a lot of fun. It's like driving down the highway at 3 a.m. with the windows down kind of music. And man, like sexy saxophone. And but they've still got those like rock sensibilities that we all enjoy from the music we like, you know. Killer guitar solos, like, and they're sort of like that's like electronic, like Tron sort of vibes, man. It's a really fun band. And, you know, as a guy who grew up like being like, if it's not hardcore, it sucks. Kind of now that I'm a bit older and a bit more open to music. It's just a lot of fun. I wouldn't listen to it all the time because I'm still like that punk rock, fucking hardcore metal dude. But yeah, I think it's important for everyone to try something a little different every now and then. And you know, if you go into it with an open mind, it's a lot of fun. So I'd check out The Midnight for any heavy music fan that, you know, wants to try something a little different. And then if you don't like it, you can be like, well, fuck you, Jayden. I'm going back to my riffs.
Fair enough, but I know what I'm doing later tonight. After I get all this stuff done, you know, it'll be like 11 o'clock midnight. Let's just go for a long drive, listen to The Midnight, windows rolled down, head sticking out the window, and just enjoying the ride.
Dude, it's so good. It takes you to another place, and I'm about that. I'm about music that, you know, can not only make you feel something, but can take you to like a certain point in time.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great recommendation. And thank you for those 3 recommendations. And also, thank you for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. Having you back on the podcast 3 years after your first appearance, man. It was fantastic. And now it's time to wrap this thing up with 3 specific things. First things first, when it comes to Stepson, you know, the most recent single, Discover Lonely, is out now. There is more new music coming at some point in time. When it drops, though, who knows? These guys are making all the decisions, so it could come at any point in time. Plus, there's going to be new shows as well that could be coming at any point in time. This is what you're going to want to do. Go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Stepson Online. There's going to be links and labels for all social media where you can check out the music, where you can get some merch, where you can make sure you're following them when they're going to be touring, and what you need to tag them in for all these other places to make sure they come over to the US in 2025 to support these guys. All of it's going to be there. All you have to do is click on the links and go to your favorite one and follow along with the band. I'm doing all the hard work for you, so just do the 2 clicks, the click to the link, the click to follow, and I got you covered. So please go and do that. It's all down there for you. Now it's time for number 2. Jayden, when I had you on the podcast the first time, I made you a promise that said, when I get to see you perform live, my promise to you is first rounds on me. Well, sir, this is your second time on the podcast, but I haven't seen you play live yet. So let me add one more round to that. How about that?
Sounds good, man. And then I'll get the next 2 after that. And then after that, we probably won't be able to keep count anyway.
Probably at that point in time, because who knows what the heck and what other people are going to be a part of this as well. So that's when we need to get you over to the US in 2025, because, you know, then we can make good on this promise and I can see you guys play live and it'll be a blast.
Yeah, dude. Make sure, like, honestly, it's quickly becoming top priority post like album release. So
yay! So that's the excitement right there, just yay! Because
yeah.
And now
that's a good little sound clip, like a little sound bite. It's like yay!
hey, clip it up, use it however you want. Now it's time for number 3. As we bring this to a conclusion, Jayden, I cannot end this by saying goodbye, because second time the podcast, love having you on. Want to have you on again for a 3rd time. If it's like, hey, you know, we got the new album coming out at this point in time, you want to run this back again? Absolutely, I want to run it back again. And I got to make good on those promises, so this cannot be goodbye, my friend. This is, I'll see you later.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Ooh, well, folks, that's my interview with Jayden from the band Stepson. Now it's time for Kevin's final thoughts. So for my final thought today, where I'm going to go with this is the fact that, you know, we hear a lot of horror stories about bands and labels, about, you know, when they go their separate ways. And with Stepson and Sharptone, it did not seem like that was the case, which is a fantastic thing. But with Stepson kind of taking the, you know, charge of what they have and just trying to go back to it, the key that Jayden brought up was The fact that, they're just having fun with it again. They're just enjoying every step of the way. Even some of the work where you're like, man, I can't believe I got to do some of this now with the label used to do it. But now you have the freedom to do whatever you want with it, and they wanted that, and that's what's bringing more happiness to them. It's allowing them to really take stock in everything they've done so far in terms of music, touring, the people they've been able to meet, the place they've been able to go, and see where they continue to want to go with it and have the positivity and the energy behind it, which is going to come across in their music as authentic, which is going to come across as genuine and come across as powerful. So when you listen to it, you're going to feel all of that happen. That is one of the reasons why we see bands that come out with records that take some time, or they're taking time with their music, why some of the more creative stuff comes out, because they have the time to be able to try these different things and they have the freedom to be able to do that. Stepson has that a lot of bands had during the pandemic. They have that again now at this time, and they know it. And when you listen to Discover Lonely, you're going to see a lot of intricacies in there that you're going to be wondering, where is Stepson going to go next? And the answer is, yeah, they're going to probably go there no matter what you think it is. I can't wait to hear some of the heavier stuff and some of the more melodic stuff and some of the more lighter stuff and the stuff that's going to make you feel something. I can't wait to listen to all of it and really see where we get into it. So I'm excited for a lot of this. I'm excited to see where Stepson goes, and I'm a full supporter of that. Be sure to follow along with them on social media and stream their new music. Go get some merch. Go see them live. Link description of the podcast below is going to have all of that for you, so go and do that. Also, make sure you follow along with the Chord Progression Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and the links are in the description as well. Hit subscribe right down here on YouTube to catch every single podcast every single Tuesday and Thursday, and Friday videos for reactions as well. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can follow us along there. The full episodes are available every single Tuesday and Thursday. Also, be sure to like these episodes, push us in the algorithm, get more people to know about the great music that we're bringing to you. Thank you, Jayden, once again. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. On that note, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. That was a big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!